Hi, it's me. Today we're going to learn all about the great white shark, the most famous shark in the world. You probably already know a few things about this massive hunter. It's one of the largest fish in the ocean, eats other fish and occasionally people, and has been made famous by movies like Jaws. But did you know that there are a lot of interesting things about great whites that you probably never knew before? We'll learn all about them and more in today's episode. Coming up, the great white shark is a very large shark, which should come as no surprise, considering it's the main reason why it has such a fearsome reputation. They can grow to be around 20 feet long and weigh several thousand pounds. Only a handful of species, including some whales, are larger. Because of their size, they are easily capable of eating most fish and many types of marine mammals, including seals and porpoises. That means they are an apex predator. No animal on Earth hunts them except for killer whales on occasion. But the great white shark isn't just big. It's got lots of cool features that help make it one of the best hunters in the ocean. Its body is designed for chasing down prey. Like all sharks, it has a streamlined body that lets it swim at great speeds. They can swim at around 25 miles per hour, but only for short distances. To conserve energy, they typically swim between 6 and 9 miles per hour. But because of their size, even these slower speeds are enough to let them chase down pretty much any prey. One of the coolest parts of a great white shark's body are its teeth. They have 2 rows of teeth, each full of serrated blades. Each tooth is around 3 inches long, which is as tall as my thumb, and they use these teeth to slice through flesh. Because the teeth are replaceable, if one breaks while eating, they don't have to worry about it too much. In fact, they lose hundreds of teeth during their lifetime, but new ones just grow underneath them. When they chomp down on their prey, they can exert up to 1.8 tons of force on their bite. That's stronger than any land animal on the planet except for a few species of whales. Of course, those weapons are nothing without a keen sense to track down and find prey. Fortunately, the great white shark has some of the best senses of any animal. To start with, it has an amazing sense of smell. Scientists believe that they can detect chemicals in the water at concentrations of 1 part in 10 billion. That means if someone were to spill a drop of blood into the ocean, a shark could smell it from miles away. All sharks have a good sense of smell, but the great white's is especially powerful. In fact, if a seal is bleeding, a great white shark can smell the blood from 3 miles away. Great white sharks also have something called the ampulla of Lorenzini. These are special receptors that can detect weak electrical signals. Every animal generates a small electrical field as it uses its muscles. The shark can pick up these signals and it helps them to find prey hiding in the sand. It also helps them to find prey in complete darkness. Using these senses, the great white shark hunts down other fish, seals, sea lions, and other marine mammals. Because they are so large and powerful, they can eat just about any prey. Sometimes they half-nose bump into seals that are lounging on rocks. The seal is too busy looking elsewhere to see the shark coming until it's too late. The shark opens its jaws wide and devours the seal in a single bite. Other times they sneak up on their prey. Great white sharks are known to hide under kelp forests and wait for unsuspecting prey to swim past. When it gets close enough, the shark explodes out from its hiding spot and grabs the animal in its powerful jaws. And sometimes the shark just swims up to a group of seals or sea lions and eats one. In fact, great white sharks often kill more seals in a single day than any other predator does in a whole year. But despite their huge size and powerful jaws, great white sharks are surprisingly graceful swimmers. Because their bodies are so streamlined, they move through the water like a hot knife through butter. Because they're so large, they would need to swim constantly to keep from sinking. But thankfully they don't have to. Their skeletons are made mostly of cartilage, which is less dense than bone, helping them to float along with ease. Because of their size, they need to be careful of how fast they swim. If they go too fast, they could injure themselves. But every once in a while, a shark goes into what's called a burst mode. During these brief periods, they can swim up to 25 miles per hour, faster than almost any other animal in the ocean. When they're chasing down prey, they've been clocked at 35 miles per hour. Not all great white sharks lead the same life. Scientists think that different populations of great whites live different lives. For example, some may travel to South Africa from colder waters during breeding season. Others may travel up to 12,000 miles each year between their feeding and breeding grounds. Even though they spend most of their lives alone, scientists have managed to tag a few sharks with electronic trackers. Thanks to these trackers, we've learned a lot about where great white sharks swim. For example, we know that they tend to stay close to shore, usually within 6 miles from the coast. Sometimes their migrations take them very close to us humans. When this happens, we get to see them up close and personal. For example, great white sharks are often seen swimming alongside surfers in South Africa and Australia. In fact, these sharks are responsible for the majority of shark attacks on humans worldwide. However, most of these attacks are cases of mistaken identity. The shark mistakes the surfer for a type of seal and bites down on them. Thankfully, most surfers live to tell the tale. The shark realizes its mistake, spits out the surfer, and swims away. Now here's something that might shock you. Great white sharks aren't just vicious killing machines. Sure, they're carnivores and will happily chow down on anything that moves, but they're also curious creatures. Sometimes they swim right up to divers and want to investigate them closely, and it's not unusual for them to circle their prey before striking. Scientists think that they may be doing this to figure out what the prey is. They sniff it, look at it, and try to get it to move so they can figure out what it is. In some cases, they've actually been recorded trying to push objects with their noses. This curiosity can get them into trouble. Sometimes they'll swim up to boats and try to investigate them. When this happens, the captain of the boat has to turn the engine back on and scare the shark away. Many boats have special shark deterrents installed on them, but some sharks seem to ignore these. One particularly persistent shark kept following a research vessel despite the crew trying to scare it off. Eventually, the shark swam right up to the crew and stared at them curiously. It eventually swam away, but not before leaving its mark. Great white sharks can live up to 70 years, but getting to that old age isn't easy. Great white sharks have many enemies, and they face many dangers in their lifetime. Newborn pups are especially vulnerable, and many of them die before they reach adulthood. Many others fall victim to other predators, like killer whales and big fish like swordfish. Humans also pose a serious threat to great white sharks. As people have ventured into the ocean, they've accidentally snagged great whites in their nets. Many of these sharks end up being discarded and die from their injuries. Overfishing of their prey also hurts great white shark populations. When there's less prey, the sharks have to expend more energy searching for food, which leaves them weaker and more vulnerable to disease. Because of all these threats, great white sharks are now listed as a vulnerable species. This means that there are fewer than 1,000 mature great whites left in the ocean. Thankfully, there are people who are working hard to protect them. Groups are teaching children about great white sharks to help dispel the myths that surround them. By learning about sharks and teaching others about them, we can work toward protecting them and their homes. Now it's time for a quick review. What did you learn from today's episode? How much do you know about great white sharks? Share your thoughts with me in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel. New episodes premiere every week. And don't forget to follow us on social media for fun stuff every day. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.